A big week ahead of us. Thursday marks May 1st. Horse racing's Triple Crown season begins with the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. And let me recap the Boston Marathon. Two runners in the sports business that I was aware of. Brian Oates of the Patriots and Kraft Sports Group finishing that race in 4 hours, 31 minutes. Al Guido from the 49ers and Elevate finishing the Boston Marathon in 3 hours and 40 minutes. Well done to both and all the runners of that great race. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Monday, April 28th. Good morning. I'm Abe Madcore. Do you need more proof about how much Wisconsin loves football? What a big hit that the NFL draft was in Green Bay. It looked fantastic on television. It drew a three-day attendance of 600,000 fans. I mean, going into the draft, they thought maybe they would draw 250,000 fans. The number of 600, that equals Nashville's massive turnout in 2019. Last year's 775,000 fans in Detroit is the record for draft attendance. But let's just look at the numbers in Green Bay. Day 3, Saturday, that drew 220,000 fans. That was 15,000 more than the opening night. But Thursday certainly set the stage. It just looked great on television Thursday night, provided real momentum for Friday and Saturday. And the biggest thing, there were no issues around the draft. Police reported one arrest over the 3 days. The weather in Green Bay mostly cooperated. And again, overall, a great weekend for the Green Bay, for the NFL, and the fans. Let's just look at the most attended NFL drafts. Detroit 2024, 775,000 fans. Green Bay and Nashville both at 600,000 fans. Kansas City in 2023 at 312,000 fans. And Las Vegas rounds out the top 5. That was in 2022 with 300,000 fans. Again, the early ratings from the draft are strong. We'll have more later in the week. The draft will be in Pittsburgh next year. That should be a great city for it. And if you wanted to guess on one possible change, it could be around the length of time around the first round. Commissioner Roger Goodell said Friday he would like to consider looking at ways that the first round could be tighter. On Thursday, the first round ran nearly 4 hours. Yes, from 8 p.m. to around 11:45 Eastern time when the final pick was made. So there could be some tweaks on the fringes, on the edges, but all in all, a very successful weekend for the NFL. Let's stay with the league. An historic day today, Monday, April 28th in Washington, D.C., as the District of Columbia and the Washington Commanders are planning to announce a deal to build the team's next stadium at the old RFK Stadium site on the Anacostia waterfront. Now, this will be the first public details of the deal. Yes, any deal still has a lot of approval ahead of it, but you'll see Commanders owner Josh Harris and District Mayor Muriel Bowser at a joint news conference today outlining a deal that could cost close to $3 billion. Bottom line, this is a huge deal for the district. It's a huge deal for the mayor, a huge deal for the Commanders to go back to the RFK site, and a very important deal for the NFL to be back in the District of Columbia. I'll just say Josh Harris has this team heading in the right direction. He has a goal of opening a new venue by 2030 and taking this team back to its roots in Washington, D.C. Remember, the team played at RFK from 1961 to 1996, and moving back and moving away from its often panned stadium in Landover, Maryland, is another very positive step for this franchise. We'll certainly have more on this story later in the week. We had Bob Myers interview NBA Commissioner Adam Silver during our CAA World Congress of Sports last week in Nashville. He is so sharp. He's so impressive. We know he's been very successful as a basketball executive. He's been working at ESPN as an NBA analyst. He's also doing some consulting work for Josh Harris and the Commanders. But his name is getting bandied about with some of the recent job openings in the NBA. And the Suns may have their eye on Bob Myers to run their basketball operations. We know that Matt Ishbia is looking to make changes. His ownership has not gone the way he has planned. Now, sources say Bob Myers enjoys what he's doing. He certainly looked like he's enjoying life when we saw him in Nashville. But I do expect Bob Myers' name to come up early and often as NBA owners look to improve their front offices during this offseason. In an interesting panel at the World Congress last week, both Arctos' Doc O'Connor and David Blitzer talked about how there is great growth potential in baseball, and both called Major League Baseball teams largely undervalued. Very interesting. And here's a city that wants in, Orlando. Do not sleep on a city like Orlando. They would love to get the Rays from Tampa or a possible MLB expansion team. And those efforts took a step forward with news last week that $1.5 billion in funding has been pledged to attract a team and build a new ballpark. So this is real money stepping up. This is a group called the Orlando Dreamers. They have an Orlando-based investor ready to buy all or part of a major league team. Now, it should be noted that $1.5 billion would not even be half the cost of any effort, and that several Tampa Bay area-based groups also have expressed interest in buying the Rays and keeping the club in the area. But the bottom line is there is interest in baseball. There is interest to keeping baseball in Florida. Don't look now, but American owners of foreign soccer clubs are starting to have real success. After years of being criticized and ridiculed for their lack of understanding of the global game, there has been an impressive run by American ownership groups. Let's take a look. As EPL observer Joshua Robinson in the Wall Street Journal noted, as the season has come to a close, clubs owned by U.S. groups are set to win titles in the major divisions in England. Liverpool, backed by Fenway Sports Group, clinched its second league title since 2019 on Sunday in front of its fans for the first time in 35 years. Liverpool, a great story. They finished ahead of Stan Kroenke's Arsenal. American-owned Burnley sits in first place of the second-tier championship, just ahead of Leeds, which of course is controlled by the 49ers. Both are guaranteed to be promoted to the Premier League. And of course, Wrexham's amazing story continues. It won on Saturday to secure a historic third successive promotion. So they are now moving up to the championship level, and one step below the Premier League. And of course, Ryan Reynolds said their goal is to make it to the Premier League next year. Now remember, Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney, they bought this club for $2.5 million in 2021. And their story's been amazing. I can't think of any club that has seen such a more public turnaround than Wrexham. And Bloomberg estimated that Wrexham's value is now at about $133 million, up from the $2.5 million they paid for the team in 2021. So the bottom line again here, U.S. owners seeing real success owning soccer clubs in the UK, and that's a story many thought would never be told. While talking about sports in the UK, Fanatics held a grand opening on Friday for the Fanatics Collectibles London flagship store on Regent Street. They had more than 2,000 people waiting in line to get in. You had Lewis Hamilton, you had Michael Rubin. Some people likened it to the scene when Apple opened its first store outside of America in 2004. Now, Fanatics doesn't have a store like this anywhere. This was the company's first store in the world. They decided to open it in London. The company is looking to grow, obviously, the collectibles business in that part of the world. Fanatics is putting a lot of resources behind its Premier League trading cards and stickers. They got those rights. They begin on June 1st. Panini had been the rights holder for the past 6 years, but those Premier League rights now belong to Fanatics, and that is the backbone of their expansion into the UK. And finally, I just can't say enough about the Savannah Bananas, who brought Banana Ball to Clemson's Memorial Stadium on Saturday, drawing a sellout of more than 81,000 fans. Yes, 81,000 fans in Clemson to watch baseball. The stadium was transformed to a baseball field. Tickets sold out months ago in just a couple of hours. When the gates were opening Saturday at 4:30, people were lined up by the thousands to get in. Again, keep your eye on the Savannah Bananas as they will play more NFL stadiums and MLB ballparks, and they will be full, sold out to capacity all summer. And that is your morning Buzzcast for Monday, April 28th. I'm Abe Madcore. Thanks for listening to the Buzzcast. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you tomorrow.